Okay, so welcome to function notation. So when we are talking about function notation, it looks like this. This is f of x. That's how you say this. So say f of x, and that is how we say the function notation. All right. One of the main things I do want to warn you about is sometimes people get confused with function notation because of this f. This f is not a variable. So never, ever, ever solve for this f, okay? That f is just the name of the function. And we're going to talk about what that means once I give you a few more examples. So that just tells you where to look. If I say find f of 3, that means you are plugging 3 in for the x value in the function f. If I say find g of 3, that means you're plugging in 3 to the g function. So that just tells you where to look. It's the name of your function. The other thing that people sometimes get confused with is that f of x is the exact same thing as your variable y. They are interchangeable. So I can say you have y equals mx plus b, but I can also say you have f of x equals mx plus b. They are the exact same thing. So just like your x is your input and you solve for y, this just gives you a little bit more organized because now with f of x, this notation means that I can tell you what you're plugging in for x, and I can just put it in these parentheses over here, and that tells me what I'm plugging in over here. But whatever number I get out, it's still an output. It's still your y value. All right, so let's explore that a little bit more. Let me give you an example. All right, so pause it over there if you didn't get all that down. So what did we leave off with? GH. All right, so I'm going to give you the function f of x. We're going to start off easy, equals 4x minus 1. Okay, and what I want you to do with this function is I want you to solve for f of 3. Okay, this is all you are doing when you are finding f of 3. All this means is, notice how it took the place of your x value over here. So I'm just going to write a little blurb off to the side. All this means is plug in whatever is in the parentheses. In this case, it's 3, into the x in the function. That's it. Okay, so what this would look like is I'm just going to plug in, this is telling me that my x is 3. So I'm just going to plug it in for this x. And then I'm just going to solve. So 12 minus 1, f of 3 equals 11. Okay, and like I said before, hold on, I'm trying to get more colors over here. This is what I plugged in. This is my input. Your input is always your x values. Input goes with domain, your independent variable, anything with those ins in there. And then I got out this number. This number is my output. What I just solved for is a point on this graph. So if I was going to actually graph 4x minus 1, one of my points on there would be 3, 11. I plugged in 3, I got out 11. That is just telling me that this point is on my line, okay? And that's all this really means is if I gave you, like, you have the expression 4x minus 1, solve for it when x equals 3. That's the exact same thing that you're doing here. I know all of you guys know how to do that. It's just sometimes this trips you up. All right, now let's look about, like, explore what I meant by it could have multiple names. So again, pause it if you need to finish writing that down. Over here, I'm going to give you a couple of different functions. So I'm going to give you f of x equals negative 4x plus 1, and h of x is going to equal 2x squared plus 3x minus 7. So again, these guys, they're two different functions. Technically, I can write these, Technically, I can write these both with y's, But this one tells me exactly which function I'm talking about. There's the f function and there's the h function. So let me give you a couple different examples. So say over here, I want you to solve for f of -2, and I want you to tell me what that equals, okay? I know that this means it is telling me to plug in -2 for x into the f function. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have -4, I'm plugging in -2 for x, and then I'm adding 1. So now -2 times -4 is +8, add the 1, and I get 9. So that means f of -2 equals 9. If I was going to graph this, that means I would have the point -2, 9 on my line. When I plug in -2, I get out +9. All right, the next one. So J, I have h of 3 now. So again, what this means is now I am plugging in 3 every single time I see an x in the function h. Okay, so this letter is not a variable. It tells you which function you're plugging in this number to. So I'm plugging in 3 in for this one. And for every single x, notice how this is a quadratic. I have 2 sets of x's over here. I want to plug it into every single one. So I'm going to have 2 times 3 squared plus 3 times 3, and then -7. So there should be no more x's once you plug in that 3. Make sure over here, a lot of you guys get this part wrong. Make sure you're following order of operations when you go to solve for this. Always square this number first, then multiply. So you don't want to multiply and then square. That doesn't follow order of operations. So this is going to be 2 times 9. I can multiply these guys right away. 3 times 3 is also 9. -7. 2 times 9 is 18. Plus 9 minus 7. And then 18 plus 9 is 27. 27 minus 7 is just 20. So that means h of 3 equals 20. That means if I was going to graph this parabola, when I plug in 3, I get out 20. That means the point 320 is going to be on my graph. Okay, let's do a couple more. I'm just going to turn the page. So again, feel free to pause it whenever you need. Okay, for these ones, I'm going to give you a couple of different functions again. So f of x equals 2x minus 7, and h of x equals -3x plus 1. But now the examples that I'm going to give you are going to look a little bit more different. So we are on K. All right, so now I'm going to give you, I want you to solve for h of m. And a lot of you guys look at this and like, what the heck? I don't know what I'm doing. You just have to ask yourself or tell yourself, you are plugging in m, you're plugging in whatever those parentheses, what's inside those parentheses in for x in this h1. So this one is going all the way over here. So I'm plugging in m for every x in h. So that just means that even sometimes it helps you where it's like, just open up whatever your x is. All right. What am I plugging in for this x? I am plugging in m for this x. Okay. So really my answer is just -3m plus 1. That's what I'm getting out. I can't solve for it because I have no idea what m is. So this is my output. When I plug in m, this is what I get out. Okay, let's look at another one. So, oh my gosh, sorry, that was my phone. It scared me. All right, L is going to be f of p plus 3 now. So again, this means I am plugging in p plus 3 for every x in f now. So this one is telling me to go over here. So now I'm plugging it into this one. Okay, so now I am plugging in p plus 3. And again, if it makes more sense to you, just open up that x. So I know I'm plugging in something into the x function, or I'm sorry, the f function. What am I plugging in for the f function? I'm plugging in p plus 3 in for x. So now this one you can simplify it just a little bit more because there's multiple things. So you can distribute over here. So I have 2p plus 6 minus 7. And then you can combine like terms. So I get 2p minus 1. Okay, so when I plug in p plus 3, I get out 2p minus 1. You're just plugging in p plus 3 in for the x for the f function. Let's try it one more time. Okay, so for this one, now I'm going to have h of w plus 5. So again, now I'm looking at the h function. I want to make sure I'm going over here. Just going to get another color. So I'm going over here. Want to plug it into this function. So let me just open that function back up. I know I'm plugging in something for x. What am I plugging in for x? Whatever's in the parentheses. So that w plus 5 just drops down in there. Then I distribute negative 3w. And then negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15 plus 1. Combine like terms. Oops, hold on. Let me move that down. So negative 3w minus 14. So that is my answer. When I plug in w plus 5 into my h function, distribute, combine like terms, I get negative 3w minus 14. All right, so I'm going to stop it right there and then just make sure you guys are asking me any questions when I see you on, actually it's going to be next week, I think already. Oh my gosh. All right, I'll see you guys later.